So let us start then. Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. So any questions, clarifications, or everything is fine? Remember, this class I am re-looking at some of the fundamentals so that we can go ahead very comfortably. Okay. So anything has to be clarified, please clarify it. Okay. Okay, then let us go ahead. Okay. Last time, last time we had seen how knowing the truth frees you from grief, sorrow, etc. All that was what you are saying. The means of knowing the Shastra Pramanam, etc. All that we saw elaborately. Okay. Therefore, one who teaches this is a guru, okay? Nobody else. As we saw yesterday. Okay. So, continuing that idea, he goes ahead to say, okay, na swayam swasya na anyasya na anyasya atma cha heyagaha upadeyo na cha api evam iti samyak iti smritaha samyak matihi smritaha. We are talking about the subject matter of the Atma, okay? So Atma na swayam swasya na anyasya atma cha heyagaha. The self, yours or somebody else's, it is not something that can be accepted or rejected. Upadeya. Na heyaha rejected, no upadeya accepted. We do talk about self-acceptance. If you look at my self-esteem workshop, we started with self-awareness and self-acceptance. But that self that we are talking about is your psychological self, your body, mind, etc. Remember, there are always different levels when someone teaches. Okay? So the self that can be accepted or rejected, you should say, when we say people should have self-acceptance, etc., we are talking in terms of your personality. That which you are really speaking, objectifying. So at that level, the psychological self, the physical self, you can talk about acceptance or rejection. Valid. But here we are talking about the Atma, the one that objectifies everything else. That I cannot be accepted or rejected. Even when Krishna says in the Gita, Uddhared Atman Atmanam, Na Atmanam Avasadayet, lift yourself by yourself. Okay? Uplift yourself. Again, it's the psychological self, the seeker, the jiva. All that is necessary to be done. At the same time, when it comes to the Atma Swarupam, who is going to accept, who is going to reject? You can accept and reject only something other than you. This book, if I say please take it, you can choose to accept it or reject it. To accept or reject, you can choose. But you cannot choose to accept or reject yourself. With this book you can do because other than you. With the body you can do because other than you. It's an instrument. Your mind you can do because again it's other than you. But you are not something that can be accepted or rejected. Nor is someone else, with respect to someone else, you can accept or reject. Because someone else is also the same. Someone else is also the same. The Atma of your neighbor and you are one and the same. Therefore, acceptance and rejection is not possible. As a person, you can accept or reject. Okay. Yeah, that's open to your choice. You accept or reject. Fine. Yeah, we talk about accepting everything and everyone in the sense that I accept them and the right to be, their autonomy, etc. I respect. And that doesn't mean I have to go and be a bosom friend of theirs, okay? Don't fall into that type of a trap, okay? Because I have to accept this thing. I have to be like that. No, you don't have to be. Accept them as people, as valid as you are. I know this girl, she has a big issue with her husband. Finally, they separated out. So when I came to know of the person, the husband, which I didn't know before, I said, how do you think of marrying such a character? It is rare that I ask a question like that. Okay, it's a very rare. I think in all my life of knowing people, maybe one or two people I may have asked that question. Okay, I said, how do you think of marrying somebody like this? And this is called spiritual idiocy. She tells me, Swamiji, he is also God's creation. Now what right I have to accept or reject? This is not any great spiritual wisdom. This is being a spiritually an idiotic person. Okay. Yeah. Nor is that acceptance real, because the acceptance is real, you will have been happy with the person. Or at least you will have managed to survive it. But it's not. Yeah. So it would have been better to have rejected at that time rather than rejecting after 10 years. No? After 10 years it becomes traumatic for both. Before it is not. Take hai, didn't work out. Because arranged marriages is okay. Didn't work out. So in all these cases you have a question of acceptance and rejection. Either with respect to yourself or with respect to others. Yeah, we accept the whole world. Meaning they have a right to be what they are. Okay. That's all they accept. Our acceptance is a very generic thing, very broad thing. That much, yes, is good to have. I mean, India is a free country. So if somebody wants to make a fool of himself, good. I'll accept him as that. I'll accept his right to make a fool of himself. It's that much only, not more than that. Yeah. Just because I accept a fool doesn't mean I have to follow a fool. Okay. Yeah. I accept a fool doesn't mean I have to follow him. Yeah. All this is fine with respect to myself and others, because this we are talking about the person, the individual. When we are talking about the reality, it's entirely a different matter. It's entirely a different matter. That is not open to acceptance or rejection. Why? Because you are talking about the self. The limitless self is not a matter for acceptance or rejection. Why? Because it is you. Yeah. How do you accept yourself or reject yourself? Plus, on top of it, it happens to be limitlessness. Therefore, if you reject, where are you going to keep it? Where are you going to throw it out? So the self, the Atma, awareness, consciousness, is not open to acceptance or rejection. It is what you are. It is your Swarupa. Already known as I am, what exactly that I, it has to be known. So a conclusion about yourself, you may be happy with and you can accept, or unhappy with and you may reject. That's a conclusion in your mind. But you, the consciousness, is not open for acceptance or rejection. Conversely, anything that's open to acceptance or rejection is not you. Anything that's open to acceptance or rejection is not you. That's the converse of the statement, isn't it? Yeah. So, that's highlighting an important aspect, a nuance of this knowledge, okay? Okay. Okay. Then he says, Atma pratyayika yesha sarva vedanta gochara jnatvetam hi vimuchyante sarva samsara vandanaihi. Sarva vedanta gochara. That which is agocharam. Okay, that Atma which is agocharam, not as object of your sense organs or your mind. Yato vacho nivartante aprapya manasa saha. We've seen that. He says that is kevala Vedanta gochara. That's only available for Vedanta. As Vedanta Pramanam, it's available. But even Vedanta Pramanam does not objectify it. Understand this well. Okay. If you try to study Vedanta like how you study any other objective discipline, you will end up with a very academic study. Okay. You will end up with conceptualizing the whole thing. And Vedanta is not about forming concepts, it's about breaking concepts. Notions about yourself you break. Therefore, if you are reducing Vedanta, Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman as a concept, you need to break that as well. And you will find, even in the Gita, Krishna has done it. It is neither Sat nor Asat, he will say. 13th chapter. Neither Sat nor Asat. Now what are you going to do? All the time you are thinking Sat existence, and conceptualizing it. So neither Sat nor Asat. Deliberately. Yeah. Okay. So there is where the whole thing happens. Okay. Vedanta gocharaha, but not objectifying. Okay. Therefore, Atma pratyayika hesha. That Atma pratyaya. Atma pratyayika Vedanta, Sarva Vedanta gochara. Everyone has an Atma pratyaya. What is an Atma pratyaya? I am. I am like this, I am like that. Everyone has a notion about themselves. If you negate the notion, you will end up as pure I am. That is one half of the teaching. Okay? That's one half of the teaching. That you are negating all notions about yourself. I am like this only, negated. Because all these notions are self-judgments based on the body and mind and what you do with the body and mind. The roles that you play. The roles that you play. I mean, all of us play a lot of roles in life. And based on the roles, we have a self-judgment. I am like this only. Or whatever you want to say. Okay. Heya upadeya. That can be picked up, it can be dropped. Yeah. Like there was a time when I said, no, communist philosophy is very good. I'm a communist. Okay. Heyam. I did this, okay? Sharing something from my life, college days. But when I studied the philosophy, because I have a habit, when I go into it, I'll look into it, I'll examine it in depth. When I studied the philosophy, I found it ridiculous. It don't work at all. Even in the late 60s, early 70s, I knew it wouldn't work. Forget today's world. That time I knew it won't work. It won't stand the test of time. Because the whole thing is going against everything that a human being holds valuable. I must be 17, 18. At 17, 18, who thinks of heritage, inheritance, passing on? Nobody thinks, but for people this is important. My father struggles because he wants to leave something for his children. We know that. That's important. Otherwise, why will he struggle so much? Why do everyone else does the same thing? And whole of communism is against that. So I know it won't work. Because it's going against the very human needs itself. I'm talking about a 17-year-old's logic, okay? Today I'll have far sophisticated logic, but the base is true. The base is true. Hey, upadeyam, I had picked it up after a couple of months. Heyam. Because self-judgment, no? I'm fond of this. I like it. Extreme secularism. Upadeyam. Heyam. Many of us came from extremely secular backgrounds. To an extent of being anti-Hindu. Yeah, to that extent. Secularism in India went to that extent under Nehru and followers. Heyam now. Why? Because there's a resurgence of Indian thinking coming up. So because there is a resurgence, Heyam. So what was this before became Heyam now. What had accepted before is negated now. Okay. Therefore, this Heya Upadeyam is with respect to ideas of who you are, notions you have. But Atma Pratyaya is there. You have an Atma Pratyaya, I am, then I am like this. So I am like this, that is notional. I am is fundamental. But mere negation is not enough, because you will be still left with the idea, then what am I? You will say, Bulla na jane me kon hu. All that you can say. Fine, I don't know who I am. Then who are you? Self-identity is not a theory, it's one of the most fundamental things a human being requires. It's a tragic thing that in the search of self-identity, people think by taking up a job they'll get self-identity. I know people without a job also have a great sense of self. Okay. Yeah. So the idea is, but then what you are is gained from the Vedanta eva gocharaha is Vedanta eva gocharaha. So do you need a pratyaya there? Of course you need a pratyaya. Without a pratyaya you are not going to get it. Without a pratyaya you are not going to gain it. How are you going to gain Atma Jnanam without a pratyaya? Because we are trying to negate the ignorance in the mind, not ignorance in the Atma. Atma doesn't have a problem of self-ignorance. My mind has a problem. Yes, my mind is in the Atma, therefore ignorance is also in the Atma in that sense. That's fine. But the ignorance that is in their mind has to be negated. Therefore, you will need a pratyaya for it. Vritti jnanam is necessary. Anantam jnanam will not do it. Because anantam jnanam does not even recognize the existence of ajnanam. It's a different degree of reality altogether. It doesn't affect me. Just like we don't have to have a bath if the shadow falls into the gutter. As long as you don't fall, you're okay. Yeah. So, as far as Jnanam Atma is concerned, consciousness of the Atma is concerned, there is no issue with it. But as far as your mind is concerned, that ignorance binds you. Why does it bind you? Because one of the natures of ignorance is make you think that you are this much only. Remember Avarnam plus Vikshepa. Shakti dvayam hi mayaya. Two Shaktis Maya has. Avarnam and Vikshepa. Avarnam is covering what you really are, making you ignorant about what you are. And Vikshepa is making you conclude something. So certain fundamental conclusions are universal. I am my knowledge, I am my ignorance, I am my prana, I am my mind, I am my body. This is universal. Everyone has it. Then there are some special conclusions. This is created by thinkers. They thought about some things elaborately and created. So these become various philosophies, various schools of thought. My teacher used to call them thinking elaborately and concluding wrongly. Why? Because you are speculating about something which is not available for your objectification. You are speculating about something that no data is available except I am. Other than I am, you have no data about the Atma. It is not available for any of your sense organs. Therefore, not available for perception. No perceptual data. All data that you have about yourself is body, mind, etc. Therefore, if you speculate based on that, naturally your conclusion is not going to be right. Because there is a lot of data from ignorance down to the body available. About the Atma, what data is available? Other than I am. So if you leave Vedanta out of the picture, any speculation that you do will be purely speculative. You can form conclusions. You can present a philosophy, logical, defend it, all that you can do, but it remains speculative. Purely speculative. And somewhere Shankara says, the very fact that there are so many notions about the Atma shows that nobody knows it. This is a book, basic book. Are there notions about it? It's a book, finished. From the Vyavahara standpoint, this is a book. All of you know it, therefore there is no notion about it, there is no debate about it, there is no discussion about it. The traditional example given is inquiring into how many teeth a crow has. I cannot really give that example today because many people will ask, I don't know whether how many. Many people will ask that. अच्छा, कौवे का दांत कितना होता है? Because we live in high-rises buildings, so cow, crow, etc. coming is rare. There's nothing for them to eat anyway. I mean, you have a proper disposal system, this, that, where will the crow come around? Unless you're feeding the crows or something like that. That's a sadhana some people undertake, okay. But other than that, it's like I went to Rishikesh and my friend came with me with his children, okay, with his daughter, wife and daughter came. Daughter was a young girl, kid, 6-7 years old. And that time they were staying in Pedder Road. So we were all waiting for Swamiji to come out outside the room. And this kid, excited, 6-7-year-old, okay, excited, saying, Swamiji, I went outside the ashram today and I saw a cow. It was such a big thing that you are actually seeing a cow. So similarly, Kakasya Danta Parikshanam, okay, examining counting the teeth of a cow, maybe like of a crow, maybe something like that, okay. So the idea is, why are you debating on something which is so obvious? Crow has 12 teeth, it's very obvious, isn't it? If anyone is nodding, it means you are ignorant about the crow. That's all it means. Okay. Yeah. What to do? Jamana badal gaya. If I am talking to the younger generation, your teenage children, definitely some people will argue about it. Jokes apart. Okay. The fact that there are many notions show that not ignorance is there. And that is one set of philosophical opinions on the self. Then there are personal opinions, highly personalized opinions, depending upon the role that you play. And the stand that you have taken. From politics onwards. I am liberal, I am conservative, I am left wing, I am right wing. But in India, Muslim is not right wing, okay? Only Hindus are right wing. Minorities are not right wing. I put up a post on our group, okay, the teachers group, because they are all staunch Hindus, on how the Parsis have contributed to Indian growth without demanding anything for themselves. So you have to respect the minority also. Yeah. Unless they come and stamp on my toe, then I'll say, okay, please lay off. And if you don't lay off and it is my foot you are standing on, I may have to push you off. That much I'll have to do to protect myself. Nothing more than that. You have a right to exist and enjoy the freedom of our country. I have a right to exist, enjoy the freedom of my country. I won't step on your toes, you don't step on my toes. But we have self-judgment, including religious ones. And everything is about choices. So I am a Hindu. What type of Hindu? I am liberal Hindu. I am this Hindu. I am that Hindu. So these are all your own self-judgments about yourself. No? They become your identity. I am a householder. Where you are holding on to the house and sitting over. Or the house is holding on to you. I am sannyasi, Maharaj hu. हाँ मालूम है. Whatever, you have notions, self-judgments. Engineer, doctor, etc. Like I asked someone, when you are working, what was your field? Field meant finance, advertisement, medicine, whatever, field. And the person turns around and tells me, I was CEO. Retired 10 years back. Self-judgment on the last role you played in your life professionally. I'm asking for your field you are working in. Whether it is finance or HR or marketing or what. But these are all self-judgment you make and you hold on to them. And sometimes we hold on to them so much that we refuse even to change something about it. Individualized self-judgment this is. Success, failure, etc. is another self-judgment. Responsible, irresponsible, etc. another self-judgment. These are all heya upadeya. Not you, therefore subject to negation. Then the question will still remain, make on who? For that you come to Vedanta. Vedanta eka gocharam, to know what are you. But if the knowledge takes place in the mind, that also becomes heya upadeyam. No? Not really. Knowledge takes place in the mind, but it is a very peculiar vritti. Which we call as akhandakara vritti. I am sure everyone remembers akhandakara vritti, or do you need me to quickly explain it? If anyone wants, please ask now. Don't tell me later on, oh, I don't remember what is akhandakara vritti.
Swamiji, quickly.
Okay, ask. I am okay with that, yeah.
Swamiji, if you can also explain more on Avaranam and Vikshepam.
Yeah.
Avarana and Vikshapa, okay. Yeah, I use those terms. Let us say you are mistaking something for something else. Okay. The famous example is rope snake. Okay. As an example, it has some things to offer. You will never mistake a rope for a snake unless the true nature of the rope is hidden from you. No? So one nature of ignorance is what we call avaranam, to cover my mind so that I don't know the real nature of things. At the same time, I know something is there. So Vikshepa means to project something. Without that projection, I don't see the snake. So Avaranam, so the two powers of ignorance. One is Avarana, to hide the true nature of things. vikshepa to project it as something else. Both are done by my mind only. Through the mind, the ignorance works. Avarnam and vikshepa. To hide the true nature and to project a different nature, a false nature to it. So avarnam hides the rope. The true nature of what is there in front of me, avarnam. Vikshepa projects it as snake. My true nature as Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman, avarnam. Projection, I am this much only. Projection is conclusions, all notional. All notional. But these self-conclusions are called vikshepa. Vikshepa is not just disturbance. Okay. That meaning also is there. Vikshepa, etc. But here in this context it means to project something, to project, so I have a notion about it. That notional self. Okay, this is avarna and vikshepa. Now quickly going over akhandakara vritti. Any perception, water bottle, okay, any projection, any perception involves two operations of my mind. One is the mind has to take the form of the object. This is necessary to remove the remoteness of the object from my mind in terms of time-space ignorance. Sometimes time and space may not be involved, only ignorance will be involved. So the mind has to take the form of the object. And you, the knower, has to objectify it and say, this is a water bottle. The first operation, when the mind takes the form of an object, is called vritti vyapti. The vritti, mind, taking the form of the object. Okay. The second operation is called phala vyapti, you saying this is a pot, objectifying it. That second operation makes the connect between you and the object. Complete. This is it. I know that this is a water bottle. Now when you come to study Vedanta, what is the object of knowledge? Jnayam Brahma is presented as an object, deliberately. Deliberately presented as an object. But it also happens to be the subject. And the subject has, there is avarnam. I don't know exactly what I am. Therefore, when Vedanta teaching happens, my notions about myself are negated. Then the question still stands, what I am. Your Satya Jnanam Anantam Brahman is unfolded, explained. So for knowledge to happen, the mind has to take the vritti. Vritti vyapti has to happen. Mind has to take the nature of the Atma. Vritti vyapti happens. The moment vritti vyapti happens, there is no subject-object divide. So the second operation of phala vyapti, of objectification, doesn't happen. Cannot happen. Need not happen. Cannot happen because subject and object are one and the same. Need not happen because I know myself, I am. Therefore, the connection of I is already established as I am. Whereas the connection with the bottle is not fully established. Whereas the connection with the Atma is always there. It is not heya upadeyam, remember? Therefore, it cannot happen. Need not happen. Therefore, it's called akhanda akara vritti, where the vritti takes the form of the akhanda Atma, form the Swarupa of the akhanda Atma. Therefore, the vritti gets resolved itself into the Atma, really speaking. Resolving the vritti is not knowledge. That can take place as a practice of meditation. But in the appreciation of what the Atma is, when you are exposed to a teaching, you say, that is true. That implies Akhandakara Vritti has taken place. So this is that Akhandakara Vritti that happens. And you say, yes, that is true. There will be a moment of silence. Why? Because mind is resolved into what you are. Mind is there, but it is at the same time it is resolved into what you are. That's why we say, Kritva Jnanam Swayam Nashyet. After having given you the knowledge, the vritti dies down. You are not going to go about, Atma. You are going to go like a normal being only anyway. So this is what Akhandakara Vritti is about, in a nutshell.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. All right. Then he says, therefore, Atma Pratyayika, this Atma Pratyaya. Atma Pratyaya is that I am Sachidanandam Brahman. Aham Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahma. Asmi iti Jnanam. Vedanta Gochara. Vedanta Eka Gochara I have to add. It's only known through Vedanta, nothing else. But somebody got it from another book which is not Vedanta. That book is also Vedanta, okay? I'll respect the book as safe. Wherever, in whatever culture, there is Brahmatma Aikyam present, that is Vedanta. Not different from it. So what if it is said in a different language? It is said in Greek. What difference does it make? But consistent unfolding has to be there. Consistent unfolding, like how it is there here. That may not be there in many cultures. In fact, it is not there in many cultures. The seeds are there, but the unfolding is not there. Though if you look at some of the practices, you know that there was a lot of our cultural influence. You won't find it anywhere more than people going to Hajj. The most anti-Hindu religion that is there in the world. Anti-Hindu, anti-Christian also. Anti-Jew also. Their job is to make the whole world Islamic, okay? I mean, that's their philosophy. Now what to do? They're following their philosophy. I'm glad at least they're committed to their philosophy. I wish some of our guys were more committed to our this. Okay? Of moksha and things like that. Yeah. How do they go to Hajj? First of all, Hajj is a black stone. Similar to the linga, number one. Number two, you go there wearing only dhoti and angavastram and upavastram. Exactly like how traditional Hindus go to a temple. Third, you circumambulate the linga. Exactly like how we do it. Fourth, you get tirtham from there, the Zamzam water. और क्या चाहिए? Do you need anything more? To show our influence here? That's why Islam is not a religion, actually speaking. It is a political system. Yeah. If you look at it, look at all the writings, especially the Hadith. What Muhammad said is one thing. If you look into Hadith, etc., it's a political system. Socio-political system it is. Yeah. Anyway, that apart. So the seeds of this thought may be there in many religions. The last verse of the Quran talks about the formless nature of Ishvara. One verse, last. More or less, not completely, but formless but located. Okay, formless but located, that is the problem. If you are formless, there should be no location. Anyway, that apart. So, this Akhandakara Vritti that takes place, Vedanta Gocharaha, he says. Okay? Vedanta Gocharaha. Okay. Jnatva etam, having known this, Vimunchante, people are freed from what? Sarva samsara bandhanaihi. From samsara bandhanaihi you are freed, he says. Okay. From the bondage of samsara. What is the bondage of samsara? Grief, sorrow, isolation, loneliness, finitude, in short. Nothing else. Lack of money is not considered problem of samsara. Why? Lack of money you can solve yourself. No? Do some work, get some money. Yeah. Swamiji, who will give me work nowadays? Open a vada pav stall. Have you seen how crowded vada pav stalls are in the evening? Or even morning? Even today under the pandemic? In fact, I wanted to check up with one or two stalls how they are doing. I wanted to speak to them. But I couldn't even go near them, they were so crowded. I said, okay, they are doing well. Especially that guy near Sunita Savla's house. He's doing very well. Na? Or the guy near the post office. Excellently they're doing. Yeah. Yeah. So, that is not problem of samsara. But the unhappiness that is caused, the self-judgment that you get, because I can't make money, I am useless, I am a failure, that is samsara. Lack of money, you feel less about yourself. That is samsara. And in today's society, very few people cannot feel less about themselves if they don't make good money. Because in your psyche, the association of success and money is high. That is samsara. Like I remember years ago doing a training program for a company. So the first day I handled all the senior most officers. Because I go there, I was there for a whole week. Last day I handled the junior most. The first day I handled the vice president. So as part of one-on-one, he was talking about how much more successful he has to be. He's already vice president. Of how he's got dreams and hopes and how much they'll be fulfilled. I'm not yet successful, etc. On the sixth day, I was handling his secretary who's due for retirement in a year's time. So again, one-on-one, I asked him, what do you feel about it? Swamiji, God has been kind. My son has become an engineer. My daughter is into software. Both are well employed. Daughter is married. I am due for retirement. I am going to go back to my village. There people study English, but they don't have any skills in terms of spoken English very well, nor do they know how to handle interviews and things like that. So I am going to train all the youngsters in this. I am very happy in this. I said, wow. He's feeling successful with his life, whereas his boss is not feeling. This guy has a sense of completion. The boss, who's probably 10 times more well paid and successful than him, not feeling that. Not that the guy is not in samsara, he also has his own samsara, that's a different thing. Finitude is still there, but much less than the boss. Because that disconnect in his mind he has made. I will not judge myself just by the money I make. It's important. Yeah. It's important. Because some of these attitudes are important to have even before Vedanta works in you, I'm telling you. The more I teach, the more I recognize how some of these attitudes are so important in people's minds. Like the other day, one of my favorite serials were on. So, Channel Surf, I landed upon it, I was watching it. Big Bang Theory. Therefore, these young scientists, brilliant scientists, okay? Nerds but brilliant scientists, all grew up watching a show called Professor Proton. Okay? He used to have a science show on the TV. Children's show. And these kids grew up with that and they all decided to take up science and became brilliant scientists. So online they find, Professor Proton is still giving private shows. He's not on TV anymore, but he's giving private shows. So they call him and ask him to come over. They pay his fees online. So that man comes thinking he's doing a show for kids. He says, and he gets a bit delayed, he says, I hope I not kept the kids waiting. He says, no, there are no kids. The show is for us. We want to relive our childhood. So the professor starts the show and then he looks at them and says, no, I think it is enough. He says, why? What's the problem? I have a doctorate in physics. But what am I doing? Carrying balloons and bottles and potatoes in my suitcase and traveling around. My colleagues don't take me seriously. What have I achieved in life? I'm 80. I'm 84. What have I achieved in life? So one of the youngsters tell him something which I found was quite profound. He says, sir, your show inspires hundreds of kids to take up science. So all over the world, important discoveries in science are taking place because of you. Because you inspired all of us to take up science. He says, I have 6 papers to my name, unique papers. Sheldon has 10 of them. All these are your contributions as well, because it wouldn't have happened if you weren't there. So suddenly he looks at himself differently. The old man looks at himself differently. Otherwise, of what use is a teacher? I'm talking about a school teacher, a primary teacher, who struggled to make you understand 2 plus 2 is 5. But without them, would we be here studying Vedanta? So, how to measure yourself also? That Professor Proton's contribution to science has been huge. This is what I told another friend of mine, a scientist. She was an international level researcher, but she had to retire because she was in TIFR. After some time, you retire. And she was offered this a job of, in different schools, refining science education. I said, please take it up. You will inspire generations of people to take up science, or at least one generation you will inspire. And we need scientific temper. Much more than anything else in a growing society, we need that. So, how do you look at yourself and your contribution is also important. Then the mind gets ready because you have a certain sense of satisfaction with life. A certain relative freedom from that samsaric thinking. There is still self-judgment, there is still ignorance about yourself. There is still isolation and loneliness. May not be so much of disconnectedness. That final solution comes from Vedanta. Vedanta eva gocharaha. Worldly problems are to be dealt in a worldly manner. The spiritual issues, that existential angst that you have, that all is not well with me in spite of my achievements. When I was younger, for want of achievement, I didn't feel good about myself. Now, in spite of the achievement, I am not feeling good about myself. Everything I wanted as a child, I achieved. Still, I am not feeling good about myself. Then what? Everything I wanted as a young adult also I have achieved. Still, I am not feeling satisfied. That is samsara. That lack of fulfillment in life is samsara. So that fulfillment that you are seeking, Vedanta Gochara, he says you get freedom from that. Sarva samsara bandhanai, you are freed from your existential grief, that sense of finitude, limitation that you have. Freed from that. I am a fulfilled person. Whether my plans work out or don't work out, it's okay. Out of the fullness, you can do a lot of things. Why? Now you are free enough. No? You are free enough. Previously, you may think project is headache, yaar. अभी क्या headache है? चलो कर लेगा. What difference does it make? Or forget it, not worth it. Okay, don't do it. But Swamiji, that is a good project. It will help a lot of people. हाँ ठीक है, but maybe it is not meant to be. Kali Yuga है. So good project may not be meant to be. How about that? Take it in your stride. All this happens. If you think it is good enough, do something about it. If it works out, great. If it doesn't work out, also fine. So that will be your attitude towards life once you are free from samsara. You know, you can do anything you want. It is not that after gaining this knowledge you have to be in a particular manner. कुछ नहीं है. There's a traditional verse which gives the examples of 5 jnanis, 5 wise people, okay? Shukaha Tyagi. Shukaha, son of Vyasa, was a Tyagi, right from birth, in childhood. Krishnaha Bhogi, other extreme. Krishnaha Bhogi. Nripaur Rama Janakau. Rama and Janaka were kings. Vasishta Karmakarta cha. Vasishta was a Rajaguru for the Ishwaku dynasty. Therefore, because he was a Rajaguru, he had to do some rituals, etc. Look at the lifestyles. One is a Tyagi, one is a Bhogi, one is a Karma. 2 others are kings. Panchete, Jnanina, Smrta, all 5 are recognized as Jnanis. So lifestyle doesn't matter. Yeah, why, in what way does a lifestyle matter? You can be anything you want to be. I enjoy this. I am into finance. I enjoy making money. Good, enjoy making money even after knowing. What's the problem in that? I'm a musician. Fine, continue. I'm a country blues singer. I sing all sad songs. Continue. You are Ananda, but you can sing a sad song. No? What is the difference? Previously it used to make you sad. Now it won't make you sad. You'll only be empathetic to the thing. You can do what you want. You're free. I don't want to do anything. ठीक है, मस्तराम बाबा बन जाओ. Up to you. Up to you. मस्तराम बाबा बन जाओ. I knew this sadhu in Rishikesh. Okay. In the market, this thing, one place he would sit down with a bowl in front of him. People will come and drop some food in him and ask him some questions, he'll answer. Then when he goes, he'll eat up that food. Somebody else will come, put something and ask him something, he'll answer. The moment his stomach is full, he'll get up with the bowl and go. Why? That's it. Once a day he used to eat, nothing more. Bahut ho gaya. So until I am full, I'll keep giving you this knowledge, okay? Whatever you want, come and ask me. After that, I'm going. Funny guy. But, hey, who said he can't be like that? There's another guy living in a cave in Rishikesh. And a lot of people would come and learn from him and go learn from him. So when this corona problem started, he walked into the bank with a check saying, this is 1 crore rupees donation to the Prime Minister's fund to fight corona. You look at him, shabby clothes and things like that. 1 crore? Then they checked up the account number. हाँ, उतना पैसा है उसका पास. Some 1 crore, 1 lakh something was there. So 1 crore is giving away. Yeah, what? I mean, can you imagine that guy? Yeah. Why? Because कोरोना बड़ा प्रॉब्लम होता है. ये तो पूरा दुनिया के लिए प्रॉब्लम है. हम लोग सब मदद करेंगे. Yeah, he did that. I know this guy. I mean, I was in Rishikesh long enough to know all these people, okay? Yeah, great guys. So what do you want to live as? You choose. You choose. Yeah. So we sent funds to Rishikesh. Why? Every day they were feeding almost 1,000 people. Every day. Yeah. That's a big number, no? What do you think the Sardar Langars or Punjabi Langars are doing? Feed so many people every day. You want to be like that? Be like that. You want to be simply sitting down somewhere? Sit down. You want to be a normal person with married life, this, that, etc.? Be that. You are free. That's the idea. Okay? Then he concludes that topic in this next verse. Rahasyam sarva vedanam devanam chapi yat param pavitram paramam yetad tad etat samprakashitam. Rahasyam hi sarva vedanam. This is the secret of all the Vedas, he says. Why secret? Because it has to be explained by somebody. A secret is something that has to be revealed to you. Therefore, Sarva Vedanam Rahasyam, it is this. Because this has to be revealed to you, unfolded to you. Because the printed word will not help. Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman, how will it help? It's all Lakshana Vakyas, etc. Therefore, it has to be unfolded. Rahasyam Sarva Vedanam. Devanam api chap yat param. Okay, yat param. Even the gods wanted to know this. Gods means Indra, Varuna, Agni, etc. The Pauranic gods that we are talking about. Okay, even they wanted to know it. All this in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, etc., there are stories how Indra did tapas, went to Brahmaji. He goes to Brahmaji, wanting to know himself. Brahmaji says, first do some seva. Those days teachers were smart, Yeah, smart. It seems he did 32 years of seva. He and Virochana, who was the king of the Asuras, both of them went. 32 years of seva they did. Before Brahmaji taught them. And his teaching was very cryptic. The self is the person that you see in the eye. Huh? The person you see in the eye. They both held up a mirror, person there. Both of them concluded, Deheva Atma. Both of them went out. Virochana went to the Rakshasa and said, hey, Brahmaji has confirmed our thinking. Deheva Atma, khao, piyo, maja karo. Indra started getting doubt and he is going back to heaven. He started getting his doubt. Yaar, ye to barabar nahi lag raha. He went back. So Brahmaji asked him, kya ho gaya? Wapas kyun aaya? I got doubts on this. ठीक है, your mind has to get ready. थोड़ा और सेवा कर लो. Another 32 years of seva, okay? All Zen teaching is like this, okay? If you go to a Zen monastery, this is how you will have it. Okay. And then finally he was taught. Meaning, even the Devas had to struggle to getting this knowledge. But I found one thing, in all this, though now knowledge is so easily available, we are all there in society teaching. My time that was not available, okay? Somebody was there in Powai, sitting down and teaching full-timers, okay? We had to make a lot of effort. But those people who made that effort to gain the knowledge, they gained it very well. Because they valued it. And that effort and the struggle prepared their minds. They did not get embittered by the struggle. If you got embittered, you won't get it anyway. You get embittered there. That's the, yeah. And they came out fine. So if you all have to struggle to gain this knowledge, personal struggles at home, this, that, etc., with your work and your issue, good, they'll make you. They'll make you, okay? Therefore, Devanam apichat param, they had also, it was beyond them also. They also had to find a teacher, this, that, etc., and learn. Similarly, in Kena Upanishad, you have the story. Indra, Varuna, Agni, all being humiliated by that Yaksha. Brahman, Ishvara manifesting as a Yaksha, humiliated by that. Finally, he disappears. But Indra waits there saying, how do I know? And there the teacher appears. Uma Haimavati. Okay, and she teaches. Yeah. Pavitram paramam hi etat. Pavitram, he says, is the most pure knowledge you will ever get. Why? Knowledge purifies. So knowledge raises too much of conflicts in you, then you have a lot of understanding left. Okay. All knowledge keeps samsara going. This frees you from samsara. Okay. All knowledge has something good to contribute to your life. Any knowledge. That's how science progresses. Any discipline of knowledge progresses only because it contributes to our life. And this what? This frees you from the problems of your human existence itself. Therefore, paramam pavitram etad, etad samprakashitam. So what have I done here? In this chapter, I have made this very clear. Samprakashitam. This is samprakashitam. I have explained it, made it very, very clear for people, he says. So then what? Now everyone should be clear. Because I have taken time to explain it, Baba. People are saying, Arey, why is he repeating so much? Abhyasa is part of teaching. नहीं तो भूल जाएंगे. So it should all be clear. So once this chapter is over, we don't need the class anymore. Should be clear. But we recognize one fact. What is that? In Kena Upanishad, after the whole teaching is over, one student gets up and says, Bogoro Upanishadam Bruhi, please teach me the Upanishad. And the teacher doesn't say, Abhi tak kya sikhata tha? Abhi tak kya sikhata tha? He doesn't ask. So he starts the teaching again. Okay. So similarly, now by next class, I will let you all know. I think there is a necessity to do one more chapter from this book. All of you have the book anyway. I could have taken something else also, but since you all have the book, I thought I will stick to that. Okay.
Swamiji, just that five people, no, they are Jnani. That one is Sukha, another is other is
Yeah.
that.
There are just 5 examples given.
Who are they? This is Raja Janaka and Rama.
Rama
Krishna,
and Vasishta.
Acha, Vasishta.
Vasishta, yeah. So, I could do any other text, but I thought since all of you have this book and in pandemic times it's difficult to get hold of books, okay, I'll do another chapter from this, clarify things well, so that when I go into a little bit more advanced texts, the basics are very clear. Because advanced texts may make you conceptualize some things. Okay? If the basics are clear, that conceptualization will not happen. And it's important for me to see that conceptualization doesn't happen. And hopefully by the end of that, we may be able to meet live somewhere. At some neutral place we can meet. And if that happens, it's easier to go into the advanced text. Otherwise, thoda mushkil hai, but it can be done. I've been looking into some of the texts, it can be done. Okay? Yeah. And I expect some of the members to drop out also, and that happens. Unless they are willing to really struggle. Okay? Yeah. Especially when you do some tarka, etc. Thoda mushkil hai. Yeah.
Yeah, God also should permit us to be alive at that time.
We will be, don't worry. Yeah. So, this is a good place to stop. Okay. Next class, we will complete this and I'll tell you which the next chapter we are doing also. Any other questions or clarifications, or all clear?
No, absolutely, yes.
Clear?
Thank you, Swamiji.
Okay. Om Tat Sat. Good place to stop. Yeah.